Hey guys, the new best Pistons. Now we're just going to have a little bit of piston talk. I've had a number of people asking questions one way or the other about pistons and injectors and what piston problems and not problems and whatever. So I'm just going to try and iron out the best I understand it, and I think I understand it pretty well. I could have it all wrong, but look, I'll just quickly go through it. Now, so one question people have been asking, maybe how much would it cost to upgrade to stronger pistons? Okay, so let's quickly answer that one. How much would it cost to upgrade to stronger pistons? That's a good question. Depends how you do the job. If we're going to pull your engine out, pull the head off, pop the pistons out and replace pistons and put it back together with new pistons, well, it depends what we do. So if that's the only job, we can put the bearings back, the rings back, put everything back. We've got to put a new head gasket, blah blah blah. Oh, I don't know, it sounds like about 5 or 10 grand, you know. Okay, then if you do a full rebuild and do bearings and rings and everything like other engine works, sounds like about 5 or 10 grand. Not much difference. If you wait till you crack your piston, that might happen one day if you don't change your injectors, and a lot of people want to roll that way. That's fine. Doesn't bother us what you do, whether you do your prevention, your maintenance, changing your injectors, making sure you got brand new, genuine, fresh ones, or if you just want to let it run and see what happens. If you do that, it's going to cost you. It's going to be closer to the 10 grand. It's going to be 10 or 15 grand. Why? Because, well, it depends. You can put the same old flogged injectors back in there again. You can change just the one crack piston if you like. Just change one, you know. So here's 4 pistons. They're about to go in an engine, okay? Rebuilding an engine so that we've got a spare. Obviously, we recommend only preferred brand new long motor. Value for money wise, we've been through it before in other videos, how it comes, and it's the way to do it. And yes, we can organise to have that installed for you. But if there's someone that needs a cheaper option, the best option you've got that's cheaper is possibly sometimes replacing 1 piston or 4 pistons, as dodgy as it might be. Remember what we said, cheapest option. And we know that you can replace that 1 crack piston and nothing else other than the head gasket. You've got a lot of other optional components when you get an engine out and do a rebuild changing pistons. It's quite extensive, obviously, and you can optionally change the glow plugs or not. You know, you can change the injectors or not. There's a lot of gaskets you can reuse, you can replace. There's a lot of options, okay? So that's where I'm being very vague and just sort of going the 5 or 10 grand and 15. And, you know, if you're going to do an engine, nothing's going to happen. Look, there's some rebuilt engines around the market. My understanding is the price is about 5 grand, okay? That's without injectors. That's not a new engine. That's not with genuine, this is brand new genuine components, okay? If we do an engine, the only way it's going to be done is with brand new genuine pistons. So hopefully that answers a few of the base questions. Now, in my opinion, is it worth changing pistons for something more robust? Are you on drugs? Are you on drugs? No, okay, you're not, or you are. Whatever you are, I suggest you don't. But if you're thinking of doing this extensive, you don't rebuild an engine before it's got a cracked piston, okay? Now, don't be fooled, don't be worried. It's a very small percentage. We've said this before. Some people, they get a bit carried away. Oh no, they hear a one here and they hear a one there out of the million. And they, you know, and it's all online these days. All the bad news is online. I mentioned this in another video. So don't go into panic mode. It's very low percentage. There's usually always a reason that is usually avoidable, okay? I'll say usually because the one thing you can't control is what fuel's going in. Well, you can control it, and filters don't control it, but your best way is to pump the fuel into a clear container and have a look at that for a little while before you decide to fill your tank with it, depending where you are. What, are you going to do that every time? Again, if it was worthwhile, I'd say let's all do that. And it maybe is in the outback. If you're traveling on your own in really remote places and you don't want to have any issues because you haven't got a backup plan, no sat phone, no other people with you, whatever, maybe that's what you should do. But in general, I don't think people should be pumping fuel into a clear container. You know, it's 99.99999% of the time you don't have a problem and you don't have a cracked piston, as long as you don't have the chips, tunes, remaps, the old flogged injectors and the poor maintenance, all that sort of thing, right? If all the boxes are ticked, usually you're okay. And if you're one of the very, very few, there's going to be a reason. The way to fix it is a brand new long motor or 4 new genuine pistons. There's people around that talk about aftermarket pistons like there's something far superior. Now, there may be some way to make pistons that are far superior to suit this application, but it would probably cost a lot of money too that wouldn't be worth it, okay? Now, I'll trust Toyota. That's why it's here. Toyota, genuine pistons, genuine parts. Now, in the document, it talks about the revision of the pistons. It says, you know, because there were pistons, there were 040s and there were see here it says 110. 110 is the latest revision we've got available to us in Australia. I'm led to believe there may have been a 130. I can't be sure about that. I'm also led to believe there was 1KDs overseas in 2017 with 130s that have got cracked pistons. Okay? So it doesn't matter if it was 2005, 2010, 2015 or 2020. When you've got not just Toyotas but other brands, there's other brands cracking pistons. They look just like these. Don't be confused. They crack just the same, right? Bang, right? They crack just the same. Don't be confused thinking there's a problem with Toyotas. Toyotas are the best, okay? Small engine. These four little suckers is all you've got, pushing that massive vehicle with all your modifications and your big tyres, gearing it up, making it work harder. That little diesel engine on high or maximum boost the whole time, right? It's putting a lot of pressure. Something's got to give. The material quality is awesome, the design, the engineering. The things don't wear, the bores, the rings, the bearings and all that. They don't wear. They just seem like they're going to go forever. The weakest link, and it's not a problem, the weakest link is a piston. Same as in other small block diesel engines in these big trucks. And that's what they are. Often weighing three ton and towing another 2.5, 3 ton caravan. So we're talking 5 or 6 ton a lot of the time, a lot of the most common ones. And oh, you know, they just needed a bit of a chip or a tune to give it that little bit more, but I don't push it, you know. Doesn't matter, it's being pushed because of the tuning. You don't know you're pushing it, it's being pushed. Okay, so up to you what you want to do with chips and tunes. I don't care about that. I'm just giving you the warnings. What we hear, you know, when people contact us and go, oh no, you know, which again, I'm quite happy to say we don't hear of much of this anymore. There's less cracked pistons, there's less blow-by, and there's less of all of this over the last 5 years since we've been heavily trying to educate people on how to avoid these problems, which are mostly avoidable. So this video answers the question. Doesn't matter how much it costs because it's not worth it. If you want to know how much a rebuild is, it's variable because we can do a cheap rebuild and replace one piston. We can put 4 pistons in and reuse everything else. You can put pistons, rings, you can do the whole lot, mate, you know. How long's a piece of string? Do we recommend that? Well, if you need the absolute cheapest fix, maybe a 1 piston fix will get the vehicle going again, right? Engine out, whatever, swap 1 piston, everything else stays the same. It goes back together, all clean, professional, and I'll say it's probably going to go forever anyway. But if that seems a bit dodgy and you don't want to do that and you can afford more, then in my opinion, the next step is the new long motor, right? But we're going to have an engine sitting there with 4 new pistons, waiting for the person that wants the cheaper middle of the road option. Yeah, it's going to be cheaper than the $5,000 engine, okay? And it's going to be better. Why? Because it's got brand new, genuine pistons, 110 pistons. Now, so they revised 040s, 080s. They kept trying to make them more robust, okay? So when you've got a piston that cracks, then you keep trying to make them more robust, okay? And of course, they are awesome. They work so hard for so long. In my opinion, I just don't understand how they make the material quality of these things so good that they last as long as they do when you consider the work they're doing. I'm appreciative of how long they do last, okay? And it's, you know, when you had older engines, no, they didn't crack pistons because they didn't make the power they did, okay? And things wore, rings and bores, you know, the rings and whatever, things like that, even pistons, they were the things that wore. Now those materials have got better, everything's so much stronger and longer lasting, and the lubrication systems and the lubrication's better, and, you know, something's got to give. And when you've got that same small engine and they're making engines even smaller again, but still trying to push out even more power, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, they can redesign pistons and make them stronger, different designs and all that sort of thing. This will keep progressing. Things will get stronger. Quality will get better. Engines will get smaller. Then people will jump and down and engines will get bigger again. Anyway, guys, hopefully you understand the situation. It's not worth replacing pistons before they're cracked. It's just not worth it. But if you want to do it, we can do it for you, no problem at all. We've got pistons here, we've got more coming. Bada bing, bada boom, that's how it is. But the number one way that used to be the cause of cracked pistons was old flogged injectors. A lot of people don't have those now. And if they do, I don't hear from them because I've told them that's what causes it. So they're not going to ring me and say, oh, you know, I got to, like I used to get every day, every other day, oh, cracked piston, oh, tell me about it. Old flogged injectors, chips, tunes. It was mainly chips back then, but now it's more the tune and the remap. Things have changed, but still same results. Minority of those people with those chips and tunes then end up with cracked pistons, and then we've got the majority without chips and tunes that generally don't, and there's a lot less with cracked pistons, not many, you know what I mean? So to me, it's not an official survey or study, but it seems pretty obvious. Bada bing, guys, I'm out of here. Hopefully there's been something helpful in there. Please give us a thumbs up and we'll keep sharing information and keeping you up to date. Best time to contact me, Monday mornings, text message from 8 a.m. Busy throughout the rest of the week, doing other aspects of the business, working on cars and whatever. If you need parts urgently, go ahead, but I really prefer you take care of it if you can. Monday morning, 8 a.m. Monday's parts day. And then what we're going to do the run from now on Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday we're going to send, and we might have a run again later in the week for those that are desperate in a hurry. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.